The Thing About Oliver, Chapter 12. I'm hiding out on the front veranda. I wish I could spin a sleeping bag around myself like a parrotfish because I don't feel like talking to anyone. I brought my aqua journal and pencils outside with me, but I'm so tired I don't even feel like drawing. I squint across the front yard, wishing I hadn't left my sunglasses in the car. People are jogging past the house with their dogs, which seems crazy to me, probably because none of us have even been to sleep yet. Well, none of us except Oliver. He's finally crashed about half an hour ago. Last night was terrible. Oliver kicked a hole in the wall and broke almost all of Aunt Janine's hand-painted pots, all because Aunt Janine moved his cars out of the way so she could vacuum. Then he screamed for 5 hours. That's got to be a new world record. Mum says it may take longer than she thought for Oliver to adjust. You know what I think? I think Mum is crazy. She should have never brought us here. Oliver can't even adjust to someone moving his cars, or to his sheets that aren't cotton, or to the smell of perfume, or the taste of new foods. How can Mum expect him to adjust to this much change, especially when it's happening all at once? His whole world has been turned upside down from front back to front. And for once, I know exactly how he feels. But unlike me, Oliver doesn't understand why he is or why he is here. He just knows that it feels wrong. We should have started right where we were. Mum could have tried harder to get another job. She could have found us another place to live nearby. We would still be at the same schools, with the same friends. Oliver was still going to the city for therapy every Sunday with Amanda and Matthew, and I'd still have my fish tank. Aunt Janine finds me curled up in a rocking chair. Hungry, I shake my head. I wonder if she's mad about the hole in the wall and her broken pots. I heard her take a phone call earlier. I bet it was one of the neighbours calling to complain about the noise. If she asks us to leave today, where will we go? Aunt Janine locks the front door behind her and pulls up a chair. When she smiles, she really looks like Mum. Well, when you are hungry, just help yourself to anything you'd like. My home is your home, Tilly. A huge lump forms in my throat. It's actually pretty nice of Aunt Janine to let us stay here. I nod and turn away quickly, afraid I might cry. There's a loud commotion in the treetops above us. The cockatoos are back. This time they are tearing the bark off one of Aunt Jane's trees and making a huge mess on the lawn. Then I spot something walking around beneath the tree. It's big and white and has a long black beak like a walking stick. I sit up. Bazilla! Then I notice a whole flock of them in the garden across the street. They are flapping their wings and squabbling. What are those birds? I ask Aunt Janine. Ibis, Aunt Janine grins, otherwise known as bin chickens. Bin chickens? They're like picking through rubbish bins for food, she explains. They're harmless. I tell her about how scared I was of the one I saw in the rubbish bin at the service station and how I called it Bazilla, and we both laughed. I glanced at Aunt Janine. I'm sorry that Oliver broke the stuff. No need to apologise, Aunt Janine says firmly. They weren't very good pots anyway, she smiles. Why don't you help make me some better ones? Really? My head jerks up. I'd love to. I hear a key in the lock again. The door opens, and this time Mum comes out. What a night. She locks the door behind her, even though Oliver is still asleep. Mum sits down at the step and rubs the side of her head. I'm so sorry, Janine. Moving here is a lot for him to cope with all at once. Then why on earth did you bring us here? I wanted to scream. That's when I noticed bite marks on her arms. They look sore. Mum starts talking to Aunt Janine about her plans for the day. Since Oliver will sleep for a few hours now, she wants to make the most of the time and go job hunting. She plans to take a resume around to the bakery and some of the other shops we drove past yesterday. She never mentions taking me swimsuit shopping or going to the pool. Excuse me, I stand up and head for the front door. I think I'll make some toast. I just really want an excuse to go inside, but by the time I get the bread and put it in the toaster, I actually do feel hungry. I open the fridge and grab a jar of Vegemite. I might as well make the most of Oliver being asleep. I balance the Vegemite on the tub of butter, and when I turn around, Mum is standing behind me. Tilly, Mum pauses. I know this isn't easy for you or Oliver. I concentrate really hard on getting the Vegemite and butter to the counter without dropping them. Mum sighs. It's not easy for me either, you know. She leans back against the bench. I know you want to go to the pool, Tilly. You will get lessons, but right now have other priorities, like getting work, getting our own place, getting Oliver into some sort of routine, and finding him a speech therapist and an occupational therapist and a psychiatrist. I feel that a ball of anger rising in my throat again. By the time she'd done all that, school will start and Oliver will go back to therapy. Then Mum will find a job and there'll be no time and probably no money left for swimming lessons. But that's going to take forever. Tilly, please just try to be patient. I'm sick of being patient. We've only been here a few days, Matilda. I stare at my toast. I suppose Mum's right. It's only been a few days, so why does it feel like so much longer? Well, can you at least get a lock for my room? I'm worried about my aqua journal, but what if Oliver goes into my room and finds it? I put so much work into it. It's the most precious thing I have since Mum made me leave my fish tank behind. Mum nods. I'll think a lock for your room is a very good idea. She pauses to tuck a stray curl behind my ear. But I'll need to check with Aunt Janine. Okay? I nod, okay. Mum holds out her arms and I let her draw me in. I lean into her, closing my eyes and breathing deeply. She smells like home. That's the end of chapter 12.